firemen, police officers. Nobody is going to have a job if we don't pass a stimulus. The big question I always asked was, this is a one-time stimulus, which turned out to be more than a one-time stimulus. This is a one-time stimulus, but yet, who's going to pay their salary next year? This goes back to, if you continue to let the public suck on the teat of government, then they will have to continue doing that, and you'll have a revolution if they are not able to. Ever since the recession was identified, the news media has more and more economic stimulus. They call for stimulus, 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 stimulus. More pork, more pork, more pork. Now, the biggest push was for President Obama's stimulus package of $787 billion. But they also promoted cash for clunkers, the auto bailout, and additional spending on the past the stimulus bill. And guess what? He's gotten everything he wanted, to the point that we now in 2 years have stimulated ourselves to the tune, just from him, of $3 trillion. It's not stimulus, it's highway robbery. That's what we've got. Reporters like, and I wrote this down, NBC Scott Cohn warned of what happens without stimulus. January 30th, 2009 on Nightly News report. Economic stimulus isn't just a political debate around here. It could be a matter of survival. Listen, folks, if you're listening to this show, it's because you take time to know what is real and what's not, and to, more than anything, read. But you know, the people who don't read, who don't want to hear anything we've got to say, they hear a guy say that, and they believe it. Some of these people are educated. But in 2010, the need for stimulus, even though this was in January of 2009, if we hadn't have done the stimulus, we were all going to be fighting for survival. But according to the media again, CNN on June the 28th on American Morning, they lamented poor hiring prospects for teachers after thousands of layoffs, despite union, state budget crises and overall economic troubles, and CNN blamed the lack of stimulus for all of these problems. Now, we're not going into it very deeply on our website. Today we're not going into it very deeply, but why don't you go to the website and look under one portion of it, I forgot which one it is, and you'll find a whole bunch of videos on unions. You know, when we did stimulate the teachers again, I can't really say that in high school I was stimulated by a lot of teachers. Yeah. When you look at all that we did, and one of these subsequent emergency stimulus bailouts came about, guess what? If you do the digging and you got a calculator, you would find out between 35 and 45% of the stimulus money that was to hire teachers, because you're going to have a stupid child if you didn't, if Congress didn't pass this emergency measure. You're going to have a stupid child, but guess what? That percentage of the money went to none other than the unions. Guess what? They turned that money around in an effort to try to influence the election. It was the single largest contributor to try to influence the election, and they always are. Now, my question is real simple. Real simple, because I'm like Bill O'Reilly. I'm a simple man. He's a simple man. I'm not a too bright guy. Do these teachers understand what their unions are doing? I'm not sure they do. I'm not sure they understand what their union is doing. I've continually said that the unions may be socialist, they may be communist, they may be Marxist, they may want a different agenda, they may be trying to label themselves something different as progressive than progressive now. They may be calling themselves no label, they may be calling themselves anything. But what they're doing, I don't think the rank and file teacher knows what their unions are up to. Now, my problem with that is that, hold on, that is the person that is supposed to be teaching your child to keep them from being stupid. And they don't even know what's going on with their own union. I don't know. We had Mary Snow on CNN say, nationwide, 275,000 teaching jobs are on the line, according to a group of national school administrators. A big reason why stimulus money is gone. And see, I didn't have a show when good old Mary said this, because I would have responded to Mary and said, well, Mary, you're a little contrary. How are they going to be paid next year if there's not enough money to pay all the teachers you wanted to pay this year? But then again, I'm trying to use a little logic. Paul Krugman in the New York Times attempted to scare up more government spending with the talk of a third depression. Obama himself called for continued spending to support growth in June. The news media offered support by totally ignoring all the opposition to what he said. How many stories have you heard, if you don't watch Fox News or listen to these kind of programs, or don't listen to Beck O'Reilly or whoever, how many programs have you heard the liberal media before this last fiasco and the stupid Joes and these guys now all of a sudden, and the president is so fiscally responsible? How many stories did you hear that stimulus might do nothing but add a lot of debt to our country, and it might not improve jobs? Wow, you didn't hear any. Take that back, you heard one. I think Rick Santelli on CNBC was fired. I don't think it was for this. I think it was for something else. But on June the 28th, he shouted, I want the government to stop spending, stop spending, stop spending, stop spending. That's what we want. Stop spending. Big myth. Big myth. We had to have stimulus, or all of our teachers and everybody were going to be out in the cold. Absolutely out in the cold. Okay, what's happening? What's happening with our taxes right now? Last night we talked about how we finally got the socialist, the self-proclaimed socialist from Vermont, to quit doing his filibuster so that they could start the proceedings to get a vote. I saw after that the president very quickly went before the American people and said that now